We weren't confident enough. So we cast through the pauses. But anyway, let's go.
Folks, our pause is over here as we reminisce about the past. We have to look a little bit more to the present. FPX bluntly outclassed in game 1. Kanavi ran over the game early. Yagao picked up the baton and ran off with it. Now, he won't be able to play with Tristana, so they ban it away from Care on the other side. We have flipped sides. No Nidalee, no Tristana. Core pieces of JDG not available, but we'll see if they can match anything like that in the second draft.
Will be the Ashe first pick there for FPX, potentially taking one half of the Rumble Ashe bot lane that you mentioned. But it does mean they trade away the Skarner and they go into Jhin.
Yeah, okay, so Rulers are saying, okay, if you're going to be picking the Ashe as a utility AD carry, I will do the same. Rulers Jhin is legendary. Now, and you do see that Braum locked in. So, Jhin doesn't do great against big tanks, but he does a lot better against them than he used to. Also, Renekton isn't that tanky. This is not like an anti-Jhin draft. What this does do is stop some of the melee supports being picked, because Braum is really annoying into Nautilus and Leona. So, we get Bard. Somewhat of an engaged champion. Jhin Bard is like the Season 5, Season 6 bot lane in so many different ways. They're going to be absolutely harassing Braum, and the problem with Braum is that he can't do much against Bard. Bard just sits out of range. He doesn't get to be that anti-melee support bully now.
Yeah, I mean, this is I like the Bard pick. I always dislike Jhin picks if you don't have another ADC elsewhere, and I think that might be hard to find with Tristana not available to you in Corki banned away. I'm always a little bit suspect of it.
You also need some big magic damage somewhere, so you could go... I think what you could go is you could go for a more consistent damage dealer in mid lane. You could go towards something like the Taliyah for your game. That's exactly why it's banned. Okay, you could have gone towards the Taliyah, and you could have gone towards like Lee Sin Taliyah, which is really good for Kanavi, even though it's difficult to play into something like the Braum. So FPX trying to ban away some consistent damage dealers away from Yagao. Of course, you could still go towards an AP farming jungler for Kanavi like Zyra, which would hugely outrange the Zyra. The Renekton and the Braum. On the other side, you can see that Milky Way is not going to get his big damage dealer, because they have quite a low damage composition right now with the Renekton and the Braum. Of course, not really adding anything to the equation. So the Milky Way's Kindred taken off the board.
Come on.
It would have been nice to get one. Would have been nice for you. I get it. Kindred main on cast. Would have been nice to get you on that one. But still, turns out Milky Way being such a goddamn good Kindred means it isn't seen that much.
Yeah, it's true. Vi taken away from Kanavi as well. One of those early game bruises that you mentioned he does like playing. Where are they going to go? Karthus still available if they want to go with just sort of a traditional power pick.
They could go for some really big outrange. Yeah, you could go for the Zyra. Zyra's completely fine, because I posit you this. You are the Braum player, you are the Renekton player. How the hell do you deal with Jhin, Bard, Zyra? They stood like a whole they stood like nautical miles away from you. And there's very little you can do. These are not hard engaged Leona Nautilus, which can always force the engage. They're going to get kept at arm's length for the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, Gyokdam better be a sniper. It's like the reality here. This has to be Ashe arrows. It's the only thing that has anywhere near the range.
So that's why they're potentially looking at something like the Jace. Okay, you can't play the Lilia. Oh, this is now not looking great for Milky Way in regards to... You need to bring Engage to the team, but you also need to bring magic damage to the team. Lilia is kind of the one which does that, so what are you going to do? Maybe you have to go towards something like this, but even then, Diana's not great into ranged champions. Milky Way has played this before. It can be such a great burst champion, but reaching that backline is a pain in the butt.
It feels like they have like a really, really narrow path they have to walk. Like, they sort of need, Lisan Al-Gaib to show the golden path. Because I think the only way it is, it's Jace poke into a big Ashe arrow, and then they can vomit Braum, Renekton, Diana.
Yeah. And I think with the Azir lock-in for Yagao as well, a comfort pick for him in some regards. This is such a long-range composition where the Bard can stop your engage, the Zyra can stop your engage, especially since when Nymaera gets into it and you start getting slowed down. And even if you make it in, there's a good chance you get ulted out by the Azir. So JDG for me, They outrange in a lot of ways. Yes, the Jace and the Azir, and the Ashe rather, do give you a lot to work around, but it doesn't quite contest with Zyra and Jhin, and also Azir, who can sometimes get outranged, but it's just a combination of all of them, plus being more able to pick people off with the Bard and the Jhin. Feels like JDG walk away very confidently from this draft, and FPX, in an important game, now face themselves. As you said, they need to find themselves that golden road somehow. Not within League of Legends the year, but within this game itself. The golden path somehow to find the thin, narrow win condition to win this one.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they could also turn it very skirmishy.
I mean, maybe they
potentially?
can. I mean, potentially they can, because they have themselves quick clearing jungler. They have the Jhin that can follow up. You got the Bard, which can go through walls and bring other people to the play. So I think you're absolutely right. Maybe FPX can make that work with maybe thinking about it again, they might have to do a bit of level 1 shenanigans. Walk in with the Ashe and the Braum. That might be their way to go through to this, but it feels like that's their point of power. Level 1 Braum might legitimately be their chance to win this game.
Maybe, but it's just so... I'm scared walking at Bards at level 1. Because if he gets the 2-man stun, you just lose like every level 1. But, onto the Rift.
See if the crowd's feeling it today. There we go. We'll listen to the cheers.
Well, level 1 it is, as they're walking in. I think this is just going to be a ward. Kanavi not actually letting them get anything done.
Because what you're
sneezing off.
Yeah, and what you're trying to do is just stop the seeds coming through from Kanavi. You just say, okay, all right, just need to make sure that you don't get all of the passive spawns from Kanavi on the buff, which they were choosing to. Kanavi wanted to start top side, won't be able to do that quite as easily. Going down towards bot side, starting on blue buff. Blue buff is absolutely fine, though. You can absolutely go towards that one. Our FPX going to do a double level 1, start in top side, stop the seeds, go towards bot side and stop the seeds again. That could be quite powerful. They're stacked up for it. It's not like JDG can't answer, though. They have members also on bot side.
Yeah, this is potentially dangerous.
Passive towards it. Yeah, they're going for a late invade. They're stacked up here. They're not on the buff. They want to just deny these plants from the Zyra. Milky Way wants to stop Kanavi just farming up a storm.
Well, I think they might be going for a bit more than just that, as they're going to move in and try and get a fight. There's the plants coming up. Life uses the blast cone. Kanavi tagged. Blue buff will reset. This is a proper solo queue blue steal.
What it is, passive going down again, getting that Braum passive stacked
Life
up a little
is
bit.
just getting tickled. Yeah. Oh, he flashes forward, doesn't really find it. And there's the stun. Can they find that last bit of damage? Jokdun can't, but can he find his way out? The Braum passive.
What?
Getting
Everyone's
so much
dying.
value. Barrier buying an extra auto attack. One answered back, missing. Needs one more auto attack. Milky Way will find it. Chair over the wall. And the Diana gets another 3 kills for FPX.
3 for what, a level 1? We said that the one way they could win early game with this comp is a level 1 Braum. They stopped the seeds being spawned. They found themselves the golden path. They're one way to victory, it felt. The composition could be very hard to play, but getting now 2 kills onto Milky Way at level 1 through the help of Life on the Braum, that is exactly what Funplux Phoenix needed in this one. And JDG, Kanavi, that star player in so many ways this split, shut down from the off. See, Life, great play from him to immediately get passive down onto multiple people. Make sure that Dokdam can use that press the attack to gun down the first person. And yes, he ends up dying. Here's the key thing, though. Milky Way survives, gets level 2, and with the increased ability to stick to the targets, the extra damage, he can start going through time after time, keep proccing extra damage. The last Winter Spy making that kill possible, too. Diana, very much online. You okay there, dude? Can barely hear you, dude, the other side of that. You find that, buddy.
What have I been muted?
Only for just the last 30 seconds or so. Not too much.
Oh, okay.
It's only, look, buddy, I would have told you at that point. And in fact, if you could just very quickly take over for just 30 seconds, I gotta grab something very quickly.
Sure can.
You could go through this replay and tell me why this apparently top lane replay is important.
Well, Xiaolahu makes a mistake and just gets beamed into the wall. Flandre just gifted a kill there, really. Really not too sure what's happening. Apologies with mic issues. I've left Nymaera a bit high and dry for a bit. Missing. Tagged up a little bit. As Milky Way, very strong early in the game, has picked up the Dark Seal as well. Just playing around this bottom side, still has more camps to clear though, but JDG's bot lane are in so much trouble.
Well, I'm glad I missed so much important stuff there as I grabbed myself just a little bit of extra caffeine to make it through this game with this one.
Very fair.
It could potentially be our last game of the day if JDG were to win through this one, but with this early game lead, while we were talking about the composition, looking pretty good for JDG. Outranging, good lanes, good, hard for them to be engaged onto. This gold lead is going to smooth over a lot of those worries. Milky Way on bot side, level 2 for missing, no exhaust either. Milky Way, he might just be able to one-shot someone here.
Yeah, this is a powerful Diana as well. They're just going to move in onto missing the stun from the Braum passive, life tanking it up, walking away, and Dr. Ooh, they actually do trade one back. Yeah. Still not a bad situation at all.
Yeah, Ruler ends up getting the kill, and he doesn't die. That's the important thing, because it means that Ruler can still keep farming. He would have loved to kill down that Jhin, so he just can't get any more XP. They do manage to take down Missing very easily. Who gets that kill? That would have been the Ashe, which got that one, because of course there were 2 kills from that one from Milky Way. So, Dr. He has been given the task of being sniper for his team with enough gold, and if they start winning bot lane, the great thing about Ashe, Jhin can also do this, but the great thing about Ashe is that if you start winning lane, you get to move around the map a lot easier and fire things out of Fog of War. Very, very important. Missing, he also wants to be walking around the map as best as he can. He has gotten into mid lane, but he is going to be answered by multiple people here from FPX.
The surfs into the wave. Kanavi as well is tagged up. Over the wall they go, and bang! They all go down. A lovely sweep there by Yagao. Gets 3 under the tower, but it's not good enough. There's just no follow-up, and Milky Way is a very, very scary player. Yep, Shallow coming over the wall with that dominance. Gets a huge Culvermeek down, and they clean up Yagao. Missing, awesome in trouble. As soon as that W comes back up, no. Tunnels away just in time.
Oh my word, what a great early game from Fun Plus Phoenix. JDG, they've been blindsided by the Braum, by the early rotations, and Kanavi without the flash is so vulnerable if anyone can gap close. The thing about JDG's comp, very long range, hard to engage onto, but if FPX do get into melee range of them somehow, they will absolutely shred them. Kanavi comes back out onto the map. We'll be able to cut down these grubs very quickly. He doesn't have a splashback just yet, so he still needs to be careful. But still, grubs going down to JDG is something for them in this early game.
Yeah. JDG, all they've really gotten back has been from mistakes out of FPX, but let's have a look at this play as Kanavi just gets caught.
Yeah, he just got tagged up by that passive. Doesn't have his own flash. Of course, he blew that in the level 1. He doesn't have that right now. Yagao very nearly gets himself a miracle play. Get this 3-man shuffle. Yagao on the Azir. Such a powerful player at the champion points. We'll forget about that one clip from Spring where he died randomly to a turret for an execute unprompted. But hey, he's been good at this champion. Sadly for him, gets taken down despite his decent early game so far. Doctor level 6, firing in mid lane.
Yeah, looking for the real time, and he smacks him down! What a shot!
Well, we said he got given the task of the sniper. He has absolutely...
He's riding the worm!
Again, FPX, this team, they have this one slim, narrow win condition where they can snowball this game through the early game. They're doing such a magnificent job of it. JDG, they've been slapped once again, and Yagao, even though, again, this Azir has been a big pick for him over his career, in this game, it's getting targeted now. Yeah,
I mean, and I just can't believe he hit that so seemingly effortlessly. They didn't lock him. They didn't lock the Azir up. Yagao had all of the ability to move whichever way, but Dr. just knew.
He just knew because I think that's the kind of thing where you know what's happening with the mid lane laning phase. You think, oh, well, Care's got the wave push in, so Yagao wants to back out from the combo range of Care. So we'll see it on this replay, right? He just steps out of Fog of War. They do actually see it on the... Do they see that on the red ward? That might have been the Jhin trap. Goes over Fog of War, and right here, yeah, Yagao's backing off from Care, who wants to get a combo onto him. So they kind of work together as a team to corral him into the arrow. Fantastic team play. Of course, that accuracy from Darkdam, first and foremost.
Yeah, really fantastic here, and everything is coming up FPX. Even this top lane is just the slightest of leads to Flandre after Jalho, who kind of gifted him a kill early. But They just need to keep this up. They have to keep it up. They can't take their foot off the gas.
Well, Milky Way has that Lich Bane. It's no longer the Proto Belt first build from Diana all the time. If you get in target for someone, Milky Way gets the reset on the E. Needs to be careful. Fighting topside.
Ooh, Xiaolahu does manage to dash back towards the tower, but Jin ult immediately can't. Oh no, the graphics just weird. He does get shot down.
Yeah, we hear the wonderful background noise of Jin as his Symphony takes him down. The arrow's coming up, but it's another hit.
Yeah, no follow-up really. Light flashing over the wall to try and make me a liar. Kanavi in so much trouble, just take it down.
And Milky Way has flash and ult.
He
not
does,
not gonna pull it. Okay, alright. Look, with the way they've been playing this game, I wasn't out of the question, especially with Milky Way and so powerful. Point of tower. Milky Way going to spot through which camps are down right now. You're going to see that the entire top side is currently dead and buried in those jungle camps. Milky Way 5, 0, and 3 on the Diana. We've had a lot of questions about Milky Way. What's happened to him this summer? Is it just because of the drama which went on around FPX? In game 1, you know, I think he was okay, but he was just shut down by Kanavi, who bluntly outperformed him. Game 2, oh my word, this Diana is doing so much work. Ults in towards that top side from Flandre, gets the CC left. That's nasty, actually. He's dragging someone into the W from the gym. Good accuracy from Ruler afterwards as well. Ruler, he's not really had much room to do much this game. Important that he gets that first kill. But of course, Doctor just has to one-up him.
So
Another ult hit. Fully across the map. We get to see the whole flight path of it going through the vision control again of FPX. The follow-up is absolutely magnificent. As he said, do you think that there's no follow-up? They just commit all their flashes and Kanavi's dead to rights anyway.
I cannot believe that accuracy with the arrow. That's ridiculous.
This might be the only game where we have a hyper-fed Milky Way game where he doesn't get MVP because it's all on Doctam and his arrows. I mean, you would look at the scoreboard after this and think, wow, Milky Way, wow, incredible. He must have carried this game. Well, he did a lot of damage, but realistically, I think everyone is looking down and like bowing their heads down to Doctam in the bot lane. And with FPX, with such good vision control after this, I mean, the arrow is still up. They could, folks, they could look for another arrow right now. They have Milky Way flash and ult. They can very much force a play.
Yeah, and they know what's going on. They do have that ward there. Ooh, okay, we finally see a miss. He is human.
We are given a reminder that even Doctam can miss arrows. Care. Doctor's out of that Q. Gonna go straight onto Care. Good combo. Has the phase rush. Gets himself a good trade overall onto Yagao. Everything working out for FPX as it stands. Yeah, one missed arrow. It's not going to slow down the game too much. FPX, they have a dragon. They have 3 of those grubs as well. So in terms of the objectives, outside of the kills, that's also working out well for them. JDG, they realistically want to slow down this game as much as humanly possible. Get some items, because if this keeps going at the rate of Ash Arrow cooldowns, it is going to be very much snowball into oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, about halfway back up, so, you know, just a little bit more time before they need to get back behind cover and really watch out for the sniper. Ruler fighting a little bit of damage onto life, and I think this is where I get a little bit worried, is that Ruler is playing Jin. It's just a champion that doesn't have as much agency. He can't really do the same things that Doctam can, and I think that limits them.
And he's also gone for the Shiv build as well, which, I mean, we saw a bit of Shiv when it was crit, because it just gave such good stats. It's still a good stat item. I'm very surprised it's, you know, not something I don't know. I don't even know what Jim would build at this point. I mean, the Collector's obviously a hell of a good item for him, but maybe he's just afraid of hitting something like the Braum and the Renekton with that. But still, goes towards that Shiv for a bit more wave clear. What can he do? Jin, powerful champion right now because of the change to the AD carry items, but how powerful realistically can that be? I think JDG are going to have to watch this dragon go down. You can't, folks. You can't contest for this. Surely you can't. You just got to back off and stay safe.
You need to be out of there.
The fact that Yagao is walking around there is quite worrying to me, because there was every chance an arrow goes towards him and they snowball into bot lane turret with extra turrets, you know? It's extra turret plates. So FPX really is completely under their control as it stands, and JDG is still looking to slow down the game.
Arrow is up, Nymaera.
It is.
Brace yourself.
Teleport. Okay, no one's here. They might have to pull in another teleport.
JDG trying to take the initiative as Care's in a lot of trouble. He is kiting up, flashes away from the Bard ult. That should get him to safety.
Yeah, see if Ruler can hit.
Oh, Ruler, you need to be careful.
Careful, has the W. Hits onto Care.
Oh, Care's in trouble. Flandre throws the rock, but they just don't have that explosive engage to really follow up. Jin ult comes out, throwing
Kanavi!
in the bullet. Kanavi doing his best. Can't do it right, though. Care goes low, but importantly does not go down. There's a tunnel over this rock. There's a lovely Skarner ult, so they will at least pick up life.
I mean, folks, it took like an entire chase sequence from bot lane to mid lane with multiple flashes and ults used. Not all of those skill shots hitting, but JDG get one. Shallow, who does have ult, did have a bit of rage built up. I think with the amount of flashes and ults blown, JDG, they absolutely can't contest anything right now.
No,
FPX,
you can't go near Milky Way.
yeah, and as soon as Kanavi flashed forward in mid lane, I thought he was going to get one shot, legitimately. So funnily enough, Diana was played in mid lane by Care in Spring as a counter to Ahri. Even if you fall behind, you one-shot people with Lich Bane. Because Ahri's a more squishy champion, you can make that work. In this kind of matchup too, when you go Lich Bane into the Zyra, you can 100% kill off this champion very, very easily with that one item spike, and needs the large rod on top of it. Need to see whether they can do that again. Cap activates such a good phase rush here, manages to get himself a huge escape. He's 1v3. Gets the phase rush, gets the disengage from the rest of the team, flashes out of the Bardol, and then the chase is on, because JDG have already invested a teleport and a lot of their cooldowns. Care's very fast at this point. Probably shouldn't get hit by that W. Probably should have had life body blocking that. That makes things a little bit more questionable at that point. This is where things get really wild, though, because you've committed so many ults. I'm a little surprised that Milky Way didn't go for a heavier combo, just because, again, the damage of the Diana is so strong. But I guess they knew that with Care being so low HP and Shallow, who not at the plate, they would have been in an uneven fight. So JG somehow still get themselves a kill out of that.
Yeah, but I feel like Milky Way just is aware that he has a shutdown on his head. Maybe one of the loss conditions is him dying silly in a silly way, so he just doesn't need to do anything there. Like, okay, whatever. Life dies. It's a support. Supports are allowed to die.
That's, I'm going to say that next time I support stuff. Oh, okay, saving it from the Herald. Good stuff. That's important. That's really important, actually.
Well, hang on. Does it?
Can
he drive this around?
He couldn't get himself the full turn around. Look, Milky Way, he knows he's not hitting the turret. He's like, okay, I'm going to go elsewhere. You know what? I hadn't even thought about that, though. You could have maybe done a full 360 and gone back into the mid tower. How insane would that have
that's
been?
What I
He's going to
thought.
drive us right back towards mid lane. Wait, can he even hit the mid lane out of turret? He's going back towards it. Can he reach there?
I don't think so. I think he pops out before he makes it, but
No,
I'm apparently wrong. He totally
so
makes
big
it.
brain. So the Bard ult to save the tower does nothing.
There's a sweep, and Milky Way goes back in immediately. Oh, look at all the ping-ponging. Yagao managing to get out, though. Now, can they turn it around with that W from Ruler? Dockdown going low. Lovely Zyra roll. Ooh, but Yagao just gets cleaned up by Care.
Folks, we just saw some legal edges in the last 30 seconds. The mid lane to bot lane, back to mid lane to get the charges on multiple towers. I've not seen that before. I guess the Bard is not as hard counter to Herald as it was in the past. We did see some brief moments of how FPX could get disengaged in these big moments. They still walk away with a kill from that play. They just about make it out with that, but this is one of the worries about these compositions. Surely we've got to replay that one. It was a messy old play, but you can see that Milky Way, exhaust was on him, punted out of the play. It is hard to consistently find engage onto JDG and FPX. That should be a bit of a reminder that this game is absolutely not done. It's very, very hard to close down the... Okay, we don't get a replay of the fight just about. When you kill the turret, it gives the extra charge back to the Herald. You can just about get from bot lane to mid lane, outer turret to outer turret. Well, turns out, even though the Bard is meant to be a hard counter to the Herald charge, doesn't have two ultimates, and they get in for a free turret there.
Now, I said on cast that this was a lovely Zyra ult. Unfortunately, I misread which team the Zyra was on as we watched the Kanavi here.
Yeah, funnily enough, I also noticed
this
that
would be crazy if
Yeah.
look at this. That would be crazy if he was on blue team.
That would have been incredible if only it did damage to your allies. Wow, incredible. You too can hurt your teammates like Bard. Now we have teleports into Dragon. JDG might be feeling it again.
Yeah, Flandre trying to find his way in. Dragon is already into smite range. Just about. There it is. Milky Way picking that one up. Flandre tanking up a lot of damage. Oh, they stacked! Apparently?
Ult's still going.
Jin is firing these shots. Milky Way needs to be careful. Can get tagged up, but Life does well blocking it. And FPX just get out of the way.
Folks, I am learning so much about League of Legends today. We've got the Herald kind of alley-oop from avoiding the Bardol, coming back to the lane afterwards. And then apparently, Skada can still drag you around with your Bardol's in. Like, folks, I'm learning so much about this. I knew that Yone can occasionally pop back, but wow. Something different. Care spots out missing. Ruler's still around. They might be able to turn this around. Ruler, is he going to cancel his back? No, they're going to call off that play. Going down towards bot side is Care on the hunt. And I guess Flandre just dies off camera. Okay.
Huh?
Big bot lane play. I guess they were trying to roam down towards it. I was sat there thinking, well, okay, maybe it's about Care trying to get an assassination onto missing. While that was happening, we see Milky Way go up to 6-0-4 on the Diana, getting even more hilariously fed. Has a Shadow Flame, has 10 stacks in the dark, so we'll see the play now. Okay, so this is, you know, Ruler and Missing are accounted for in mid lane by FPX Vision. They know that they won't be coming to the play. Kanavi comes down towards bot side, but he can't cleanly combo up. And then, yeah, basically Shallow who gets melee range of the two carries to get a big survival. Milky Way is a carry in his own right at this point. Very easy kill for him. Doesn't have to commit that ultimate. Milky Way getting even more tanky is terrifying for JDG.
Before we have another fight kick off, I do want to ask you, has Kanavi played much of the Zyra in the league so far? His life does take some damage.
Takes some damage.
Because he doesn't... Yeah. Kanavi does not look amazing on this Zyra.
No, he's been... I think ever since that level 1 was cleared through, it became a lot harder for him to kind of keep the pace of the game, which he wanted to. And you can see that... yeah, FPX have managed to accelerate the game to the point where Kanavi very rarely has his flash. He has it right now, but that's a rarity, folks. And yeah, I think that FPX they've done a great job of just making sure that there's not many safe spaces to walk in the map. Big thing, I was going to mention this earlier. Who face checks on this team? Basically no one. Kanavi has to force his flash again. And JDG, they can't even contest Vision. No one on their team is tanky enough besides Flandre to walk up and actually contest for that. Yeah,
I mean, there's really not a lot that JDG can do. They're just getting poked out by these shock blasts, interrupting Missing's back. This is... I mean, we said they had to walk a tightrope, but they're currently doing flips on it. As Kanavi caught again, good exhaust onto Milky Way. Does just about save him, missing MVP there. Now JDG could potentially turn it around. Skarner ult, dragging life back forward. Needs to find that little bit more damage as Ruler had to reload. Does finally get it. Care goes in. Trades back on one. But it's a triple kill for Ruler. And he wants to add one more for the one more shot. No, can't quite find it. And Doctor will get away, but that could be JDG getting Baron.
I think this is the fight which flips the game. FPX, they needed to stay ahead of things, but it's so hard for them to get onto this team. They are teleporting in. This will be a last gasp. 3v4 at the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to try it. Renekton, full health, still has access to the Dominus. He's a huge threat in this variation of the Baron pit. The classic. Ash Arrow comes in, only stuns up one. Can they actually find the follow-up? Lovely control onto Renekton so far. Missing, gets over the wall. Kanavi is low. It's secured by Ruler. Kanavi will go down. The tunnel gets Flandre out. He might be the sacrificial lamb to get the rest of JDG out. But in from the side is Can. Ruler with a lovely trap he put there earlier. Does get the root up. Flandre still on the run. Missing doing it as well. Flandre will finally fall just about. But the rest of them will get away. That's 3 Baron buffs secured, Nymaera.
Okay, and that's out of a very, you know, good turnaround from JDG. FPX, they over-engage on the red side. They thought they caught Kanavi. Honestly, I thought they caught Kanavi as well. It starts with Kanavi, no flash, just force that Ash Arrow. But he manages to get a huge amount of damage on the turnaround. The exhaust keeps him alive. The heal keeps him alive from the Bard W as well. It's just enough to keep him in the play. And the amount of damage that the Zyra already did in that short span of time is enough for Yagao to then be a huge threat at the back end. We go back towards that picture-in-picture afterwards as FPX are actually pushing in their own right. I'm not exactly sure which led to that one. But JDG showing why the composition of FPX was always going to be in a difficult spot.
Yeah, this, I think you might have been right when this was the fight that turned things around.
Okay,
Gold
no flash.
Doesn't necessarily say, but JDG have got the mojo back. Care actually does manage to get onto Yagao, but the Emperor's Divide keeps him safe, and Care claimed.
There is a problem here, folks. JDG, oh, hang on, Dragon's up. They're gonna, JDG, they're giving up Soul as it stands right now. They're teleporting in, but they're not gonna get there in time.
Yeah, Flandre's going to try and lock up Milky Way, but can't do it. The smite comes down. That is Mountain Soul secured. Traded, though, for a big shutdown.
Big shutdown. JDG gave up the chance to push out a lot of their turrets for this. Reminder, they have the Baron. They've not been able to use the Baron because they've been fighting too damn much. They do get themselves into mid lane now. This will be, at 24 minutes, JDG's first turret taken. There are no objective bounties, very luckily for the side of FPX, but the standing gold around the map will still start to bring things closer and closer back to even. And despite the fact that the Mountain Soul has been taken up from FPX, I don't think that wins the game from them. I think that the compositional difference is so heavily in the favor of JDG once they get towards their items that I think FPX are going to have a huge amount of issues, as we've already seen.
I agree. I think Ygal's just getting too big. This Azir went from being, you know, maybe even to a little bit behind the pace of the game to pretty accelerated in front of it. He got a couple key shutdowns. He's only 200 gold behind Care.
We're also at the point now where Skarner things are going to happen in very short order. We saw even in that last fight, Flandre surviving far longer than he should have done. Now imagine that when it's not on the retreat and Flandre is actually blocking out Dockdown from hitting important targets. Ruler also going to be at a decent point of power. Yes, it's into a Mountain Soul. There are tanky members on the other side, but they're not full armor building tanks. In fact, there's one armor item on the entire enemy team, and that's the Seekers, which is going to be built up into the Zhonya's for Milky Way. So Ruler is still going to do very relevant damage with the Fire Cannon Infinity Edge crits, because there is basically no hard tank on the other side. JDG, if they can keep that pocket alive, where they have the Zyra plants in front of them, they have missing kind of pinning people down, and Flandre being that rock, I think JDG have more than enough damage to make this a very, very competitive late game, even against the Mountain Soul.
I completely agree. And one thing that's fallen off, that has fallen off here for FPX is in the early game we had those Dockdam snipes setting up plays, making little 3v2s, 3v3s, where FPX was really able to thrive, but now we're moving into these 5v5s that JDG are just so comfortable in.
Another problem with those snipes, Mikhail's are missing. Makes it so much harder to play around. That one item spike for it. Like, we've seen a lot of Warmog Smalls, but yeah, it's he's got Seekers, he's fine, right? Surely, you guys never died in spots like that before. But JDG, yeah, I think they've got themselves to really important breakpoints. Yeah, they are still behind a gold. They're behind a soul. But this is exactly what we said from draft. FPX needed, again, that golden path, all of our Dune jokes coming through from that. They might have been riding the worm, but it might have just bucked them off after that last fight around Red Buff. It is so hard to fight when you're even close to even.
Yeah, exactly. It's just very difficult to find a way in. And honestly, this feels disgusting to say, but I need Milky Way to have more of an impact. Dr. misses that arrow. Good movement there out of Kanavi and Ruler. Milky Way had such an incredible early game, but I feel like he's gone to sleep a little bit.
It's so hard. He's trying right now.
He is, but Kanavi is tanky enough to just walk away for the moment. And look at the re-engage now. Flandre has arrived. Kanavi gets over the wall, can use that range. Ruler walking them around. The Skarner will finally fall, but look at those health bars. It's not going to take much more for JDG to find something. The shots are raining in. I don't think he's going to find anyone, except a bit of a tickle on to Care. Yagao could potentially, but no, doesn't quite have the range.
How long does Flandre take to die? You can't get rid of the Scorpion at the front line. Just about does go down, but you can see how difficult it is for FPX to get to the targets they want. The exhaust onto Milky Way is making his life hellish in these fights. He does look for that big engage, which we were just highlighting. And yeah, he does need to have that. He has so much of the gold. He needs to do that, but look how hard it is to close down the priority targets. Zyra is deceptively tanky at points. Has 2 HP items as her core build. There's huge amounts of plants. The Bardol allows Kanavi to walk free, get even more plants out just after this too, and keep getting extra damage down. And then look how much work this Skarner does. Tank up 3, 4, 5 members for the grand majority of this fight. Yagao isn't even here for most of it, and he doesn't need to be because of the amount of time that was bought by both Bard and the Skarner.
And Yagao just got another 700 gold shutdown.
Ouch.
He is now ahead of Care in gold.
Yeah, that's just what you wanted to hear from FPX. And, you know, this is why I was excited for this matchup. I was hoping so much that FPX would look better than the first round robin. They absolutely have. I think in this series, even though in the game 1 where they were blown out, you can see what they can do with their very dynamic plans, their early game different drafts with this Braum. But JDG are really good right now. They are not the JDG of spring. I think that they have found themselves another level through Kanavi on different champions. Even though he's 1-4 on this Zyra and he was shut down early. See how much work JDG are doing around this long range, slow burn kind of fight. JDG, this is very, very exciting to see whether they can, again, force FPX into the mire and say, okay, FPX, you have to fight really well and truly for that second spot out of Group A into the Ascension group of the Rumble stage.
Yeah, I think someone else who I want to give a bit of a shout out to is missing on this Bard. His ults have been pretty fantastic. I haven't seen any just misses. There's been a few where people have flashed away, but whatever, you got to flash. In that last fight, hitting 2 members of FPX, but not hitting Kanavi, so he was able to actually gain distance, is masterful.
Genuinely won the fight, for sure. Missing, look, folks, Bard is not my favorite champion of all time. I never wanted to own the champion until someone gifted it to me. I now have it and I can't refund it, but hey, missing, he makes me think it's all right. That's going to be an Aaron to Flandre. It's into the Skarner, though. Does nothing. Yeah. This guy just doesn't care.
He does not care. There's another Bard ult coming out only onto Care, so they're not going to follow up on that one. But it is Elder sporting in 5 seconds, Nymaera.
Yagao maybe looking for a sweep. Gets himself onto Dogdam just about. Yagao so strong. Flandre can tank up everything for a year and a day. Look at how Yagao's positioning. He wants to be an engaged threat, but he needs to be careful. If he gets shut down, a lot of the damage goes with it.
Yeah, he baits them up to the top side of this rock. But Milky Way, he is a huge threat. If he can find a big Diana ult, that laser can bring FPX right back.
No exhaust.
Needs to be a bit careful.
If that's going to be the play, there is no exhaust on missing. Dangerous time for JDG. We might just be Elder flipping it for the game.
We've got a recall coming in from Flandre. He wants to come in with the TP, but it's only 5k help on the Elder. I don't know how much time they've got for this. 3k going in. Big scoop there from Yagao. And it's a secure Kanavi. JDG have Elder. JDG should be able to clean up this fight momentarily as out come the Elder blast. And FPX are sent packing.
JDG sweep FPX at the Elder Dragon. FPX, they do look better than they did in the first round robin, but they don't look JDG good. There's a wave on the bot side, and they have themselves a very tanky Skarner to help them with keeping the minion wave alive. JDG clutch it out after a disaster early game, and they set themselves up for what should be a game win after this point. They get themselves that Elder. It's not the end of the game right now, but given how things are going, you'd forgive us for calling it already.
Yeah, they've retaken the gold lead, and they have that Elder. Let's have a look at it.
Look, folks, this is about as good as it gets. You have no exhaust for the Diana roll. The Skarner's laid into it. You're flipping for the objective itself, and Yagao murders them. It's the Azir ult into the Zyra ult. How obnoxious is that? 2 huge late game burst options. Yeah, even the Zyra ult, it's bursted late game when you have it at rank 3 like this. It really ends up being such a big moment. At least Care manages to snipe off Kanavi at the end of it as he retreats away from the Renekton. Care gets something for their trouble, but what a team fight from JDG. Gonna ride that straight into the Baron, come back with more items on the field, and FPX, if it was hard before, it's harder still now.
Yeah, exactly. This will be an uncontested Baron picked up for JDG. They are so far ahead now. They are rolling. And I can't believe they've strayed from that path. FPX, it looked so good.
Someone called Duncan Idaho. We need like another 5 generations of him to help us out with this one. JDG, they have overcome FPX. And, you know, credit to FPX. We saw that it was a difficult game for them to play out. They came away with a magnificent early game. It just wasn't to be. It doesn't feel like. Do have Care on the bot side trying to take down that turret, and I think he will do. But Yagao's so strong, he might just kill him in return. Oh, he does. The Elder kills him.
And he does. The Elder does kill him.
Oh my god, I thought he was safe. He had flash. I think Care thought he was safe. Didn't flash out. And now without the Jace, without a huge amount of damage, I think JDG can just walk it into the base now.
I don't see how they'd stop them. 1 man down. It's that poke as well that's so important to setting up Milky Way. He can't go in on full health targets. He just simply does not have the burst to do that. 2 inhibitors have already fallen. Yagao will come and join the play. They don't have a huge wave, so we may have to wait just a little bit, but JDG are on the victory march.
And they have that extra setup. They have a Jhin ult if they want. They can use the Bard ult to maybe look for an engaged 2. FPX, how do you do this? Is even the exhaust up? How do they fight?
They just can't. 1 tower has already fallen. Flandre just tanking up everything, and Yagao with another amazing sweep. And it'll be JDG getting the 2-0 sweep over FPX as they clean up game 2 and come back for the win.
JDG well and truly rule this group. They are still only 1 single game loss in their record right now in the group stage. They have clean swept through this. I'm so excited to see them versus BLG, versus Anyone's Legend, versus Top Esports, of course, as well. JDG, their spring was not what they wanted. Summer looks like it could be something very special yet again. FPX gave them a good fight in Game 2. That early game, as we called out, very, very impactful, but it was just not to be. And JDG, they put this group into contention again, with TT winning earlier in the day, with FPX losing clean 2-0 here as well. The game score between teams in Group A is very, very close. We might be going down to the final couple of series of this group to see who makes it out alongside JDG into the Ascension group.
It's been exciting, and I'm happy I got to be here tonight, because I think we got 2 bangers.
Buddy, I'm so glad you're here as well. Folks, for those of you who don't recognize the voice in the background, this is Carix, who is, for many, many years, cast Vietnamese League of Legends on a fan broadcast. The VCS English have put in so much work over the years, and I've been inspired by them a great amount over the years. In fact, they kind of convinced us to, in some ways, to do our own Japanese broadcasts way back in the day. It's a pleasure to have cast with you. There is no official English broadcast on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, so it's nice for us to get a chance to keep up the archiving a little bit. Get to cast together, but also provide a little bit of... people can look back at these games and have the VODs here in a way that wouldn't be possible if we weren't doing this. So if you are paying attention to these games, if you've enjoyed it, drop a follow on Twitch, on whatever other socials there are as well. Carix is in the title here as well. Can someone give a shout out to Carix in the Twitch chat again, please? That'd be very, very nice for you. And honestly, dude, it has been a real pleasure to cast alongside you again. We don't get to do this often. I'm happy you came out of your hiatus for this.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm happy to be back. So yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope chat didn't mind 8-month retirement Carix.
I thought we did pretty okay, considering it was very last minute, dragging you into a league which you're not as prepped for. And folks, yeah, it's been really a pleasure again to have so many people in chat. We are on 4,900 followers. We are very, very close to the 5,000 mark, which would be a big moment for us as well. And folks, if you've enjoyed this, as I said, we've got plenty of other projects going on. I currently do a podcast on LEC and LCK as well. If you guys are interested in those leagues and want